Record to the cloud.
Okay.
Record to the cloud.
You guys, I also sent Megan a PDF of this, so.
Yep, and I'll email that out to everyone, and then I'll send you the list of attendees.
So Gina is the executive director of the Chicago's North Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau, which Glenview is a part of. And Gina has been keeping a happy face through probably, for convention and visitors bureaus, one of the most difficult times that we have ever seen. And she is a social media expert, and I have always enjoyed these presentations. So take it, Gina. We're all going to learn a lot from you.
Okay, just wave. You can all hear me good? Okay.
You can hear Gina.
Okay, thank you, Betsy. Thank you, Megan. And like everyone, we've had to pivot, but it's so interesting. Well, not interesting. It's kind of horrifying, but like obviously being in the travel tourism space is probably the worst place to be during the pandemic. Like right now, for example, our hotels would be having like a 70% occupancy, and they're at 20% now. So you can see how bad it is. Of all the jobs that have been lost since the pandemic, 42% of them are from the hospitality industry. So it's been hit really hard. But through that all, I'm sure you guys have all witnessed too that, like, you know, our restaurants and, you know, our hotels have limited ability to do much to make people travel, but people got to eat. And we found that people have been really resilient and open to everything we've done to promote Glenview restaurants as they went from, you know, carry out only to eating outside to now limited indoor eating. Like, we have 9 cities that we represent, and, you know, we have been collecting all the information and promoting it on everything that our members, and we've opened it up to all businesses in our member communities. So what they have to offer, and it's not just restaurants, it's retailers and service and supplier businesses that are part of what Convention and Visitors Bureau works with. So to that end, what I want to talk about is for those, you know, there's people that are in all different levels on social media. There's some people who only use it as a, you know, a user. They don't really use it that much for their organization or company. And they know they should, but they don't, or they do, but they don't do it consistently or as often as they could do. Nothing has proven to be, you know, more important, I think, during this pandemic is having a great social media presence. Now, we do because of the nature of our business. You know, travel and tourism were the first adopters of, you know, digital media and then social media. So it's just, you know, always been a big part of what we do. And to give you an example of that, I have basically 2 people in my office of, well, 7 people. 2 out of 7 people, all they do is digital and social media. That's how important it is to us. But it was very, very important when everything shut down and our ability to meet with people at networking events. We do a lot of sales calls. You know, we meet with people one-on-one, and obviously we encourage people to meet in person and face because how, you know, we sell meetings into hotels. We want people to meet in person, but obviously everything turned 180 when the pandemic started, and we were so thankful to have such strong digital and social media presence. It really, really became a major vehicle because not only did we have big audiences and the acumen to use these platforms, but everyone was stuck at home and online. So we had 100%, like we never had so much attention. People weren't diverted by everything else in life like in normal times. They were all looking at their screens, either on their phone or desktop or laptop or tablet. So we had like such a captive audience that we could only have wished for in other days. So when I go through this now, just know that, you know, I think that it was important before. It's going to be more and more important as we, you know, transition to post-pandemic times, which will not be back to the way things were before. Like I've always hated Zooms. Well, guess what? I've done more Zooms than I ever have cared to do. So anyways, that's always going to be a hybrid of how businesses are going to operate moving forward. So let me start here, social media best practices for small business. Okay, let me get to the, hold on, I got to forward. Okay, so you already heard about me. I am the executive director. I've been here 15 years. A lot of you might know Karen Schulman that works here. She is the person that spends a lot of her time in Glenview. And so Karen is part of an important part of our team. And basically, we are here to help businesses, have meetings, events, just think of it like this. Every dollar that somebody from outside of Glenview pays in terms of some kind of tax by going to an event, going to a restaurant, staying in a hotel, is a dollar that a resident doesn't have to pay. So everyone should want as much money coming in from outside of the area into the area, because it only helps the economic development of your village, and it helps the tax base. So that's my little spiel. Now, what I'm going to talk about today is basically based on this chart. And just so you know, and I'm going to show you another chart like this later on, but Facebook obviously is the clear leader by a lot, not a little, but a lot. And then you have YouTube, WhatsApp, which is, a very popular international platform, Facebook Messenger, and then you have WeChat is in China, and then Instagram, which is owned now by Facebook. Now, what you don't see here, and I'm going to repeat this again later, is Twitter. Twitter is on this chart, but it's farther on down. And I'm not going to be talking about Twitter today because we are on Twitter, but for small businesses that have limited resources, time, and acumen, unless you are a very newsworthy kind of organization and you know that most of the people you're talking to are on Twitter, it's just really not worth the time if, again, you have limited time for these kinds of activities. So I think, I always think when you hear billions of people are on Facebook around the world, it doesn't really help you because you're really not talking to billions of people, but it's just to know that it is such a powerhouse in marketing and getting your word out, as you all know. I mean, there's a statistic that more people find out news, just basic news of things that have happened in the world on Facebook versus CNN and like the top 10 news sites combined. 2 out of every 3 Facebook users say they visit the page of a local business at least once a week. So, it's also become a really important business communication tool, which I'll get into. This is our page, and the reason why I'm showing this part of the page is one of my pet peeves. Now you see, like in the upper left-hand corner, you see our logo, and we have adapted it for this campaign that tourism is doing called Travel Awaits. But the important thing about this page is 2 things. One is that the logo fits in the circle, okay? Make sure whatever profile image you have in your logo isn't spilling out over the sides and you can't see it. If you need help resizing it, I'll literally help you resize it, but that's really important. I see that a lot where people just put their logo in, but it doesn't fit in that circle. That looks really bad. And have like a compelling photo on your cover image and change it every once in a while. So we're in the summer season here. I mean, look how fun, doing yoga on paddle boards with, the city of Chicago skyline behind you. It's a pretty cool picture. So, if you don't have one and you have a business that doesn't lend to beautiful photography, I mean, we're in tourism, so we have that, you can still find something that is not, that is eye-catching and says a message. It could even be almost like a billboard if you want for your business. The second thing I want to show, and here's Glenview Grind, is all the things you see under About on the right-hand side are free things that you can populate on your site. So whatever kind of business you are, you know, you should have your address. Then that will then build the map that shows where you are. You know, sometimes it's difficult if you are a business that serves a region. Like for me, I serve 9 cities, but our offices are physically in Skokie, so that's always going to show my pinpoint. You can't really, you have to have a physical address, so you do have to, you know, put the address of where you are based. Your phone number, a way to communicate and send messages, and I'm going to get into that later because Facebook Messenger is a major business marketing tool. Your website, what kind of business you are, make sure you're as specific as the drop downs allow you. Sometimes people put things that are like general, and if there's an option to be specific, do that. Hours. Now it's interesting, if you are a business, a service business, or let's say you're somebody who wants people to feel that they can communicate with you at any time, like if someone needs a mortgage and you want to get that message, put your hours to be like 24 hours, and then, you know, that way people will feel comfortable sending you a message at any time. You know, obviously a physical place like a coffee house is going to have hours, but other than that, you know, if you are a kind of business that want leads at any time, make sure your hours are, you know, 24 hours. And just, you know, don't let your phone ring in the middle of the night. That's my advice. So the first thing you do is have Facebook posts, and this is one from Northbrook I just grabbed, but you know, I just talk about posts because that's where it all begins. In terms of having a post, putting as many tags on as you can. This one tags a couple programs that Northbrook does in addition to the chamber. So this is our post, and we always tag whoever we can that is affiliated with it, because the more people you tag, the more people, you know, will tag you back, and that is really key here for free promotion. And this is something I want to talk about too, just really quick in a post. Sometimes businesses are like, you know, my business, I don't have enough content. Like, what can I post? Well, you're all in a community, in your case, Glenview, and there's always something going on. It could be your virtual 4th of July parade, or it could be, you know, any event that the chamber's doing. Like, always, if you don't have enough content to post about your small business, partner and post things that are happening in your community, you know, or, you know, there's always like today's National Pizza Day or this. Like, sometimes people just freak out because they're like, oh my God, there's only so much I can say about my company, about what we do without being repetitive and boring. Well, you know what, partner with people, and, you know, and you can even just talk to other people that you work with or know in the chamber, and, you know, post content that is engaging and fun. Every post does not have to be about your core business. Here's an example of things that we do, which I think is kind of good to do, is take some time to brainstorm like themes, you know. So in this case, this had to do with eating, and, you know, people love to eat, and any picture, any Facebook post with a picture of food in it does better no matter what the subject is, just FYI, and dogs. So, you know, what I'm saying is, in this thing is, instead of sometimes doing one post, think of like a theme for a week that you could do, where like every day, you know, you can, and again, it has to do with your business or maybe something going on in your community, but maybe don't just think of like one-off posts, but spend some time and think, you know what, like this week I'm going to concentrate on this, and then think of themes and that follow, and you can, you know, have that theme be for a week. Because the worst is having to sit and dread and think about what to post, and then you don't do it, and you dread it, and you skip it, and then you skip a couple days, then you skip a couple weeks, and then someone's going to your page and they see that you haven't posted since April 2nd. You don't want that. So, you know what, again, a lot of this has to do with like what kind of business you're in, but to really think of themes and think outside of what your direct core business is. This is also some of an example of like posts that we do and how we tag everyone to, you know, death. But and they're all different kinds of themes and posts that you can do. And this is really, really important. The North Shore has about a gazillion groups. There's groups for each village, you know, Glenview Moms, North Shore Moms, North Shore Cooking, you know, there's a gazillion out there. And you can just go into the search bar and find them. But we partner, like not officially, but we tag and post in all these partner groups. And these have tons of engagement. So, you know, whatever kind of product, there's always people like in these different groups. And again, there's North Shore groups, and then there's groups like Glenview, Northbrook. And people will always be saying, hey, can anyone recommend a roofer? Can anyone recommend an insurance broker? Can anyone recommend? And people respond. Well, there's a lot of people that are on here that are those businesses, and they go all the time to these affiliate sites of these popular Facebook groups, Shore, and they're on it. You know, they're like, hi, I'm an insurance agent. Here's my number. Call me today. You know, I have great rates, or I have this, or whatever it is. So depending on what you do, and, you know, obviously some of these I showed here are cooking ones, but like North Shore Mom Spot is just, you know, moms on the North Shore. They are looking for every kind of service under the sun. There's a lot of these different ones, again, for North Shore and for Glenview, and some of them are Glenview/Northbrook, but you can just go and search and find them and join them and read them and post to them. And again, people are using this to get. Now, I was talking about this before, and Facebook Messenger now is, as you saw, it's above Instagram. It's a big way that people are doing business. And, you know, I learned this a long time ago. I was having problems. Talking about her phone, like I was having AT&T problems, and I called the 800 number, and I did this and that. Well, guess what? I went and complained on AT&T Messenger. I got a response immediately. So people are finding that in terms of customer service and immediate response, this is the place to go to get heard and get responded to immediately. And I think that you can translate that into things that you are looking for, but having that. So this is an option to add on your site. It's very easy to say. So the reason why I'm showing this picture is you see next to Shop Now, which is a button they added because obviously Apt is a retail store, but Send Message is an icon, and you know, people are sending messages and they are getting immediate responses, and they expect a quick response. If you send somebody a message at midnight, like no one's expecting to hear back at midnight, but they're expecting to hear back, you know, the next morning. So this is an increasing way that people are doing business, is the Messenger, Facebook Messenger. So, and this is, here, let me just move this because I can't read it. Facebook Messenger is one of the most important messaging apps, and businesses exchange 20 billion messages. I mean, it's every month. It's mind-boggling. Messaging is now a preferred way to talk to businesses when it comes to customer service. Some 64% of people across age groups say they'd rather message a business than call or email. So that's where people are. That's where you need to be. Messaging apps aren't just support tools. Many businesses have used Facebook Messenger marketing to drive results across the customer journey, from awareness and securing sales. That's a little bit more advanced. Like we here don't do that because we're not selling a service, but people have gone into Facebook Ad Center and used Facebook messaging. And it's good and bad. I think that if you're not advanced in using Facebook, it might be a little bit much to get into. And there is debate, like for me, about getting messages that are unsolicited. I don't like them. Some people do, some people don't. But I think in terms of customer service, it for sure is somewhere that everyone should be. Now I'm moving on to Instagram. And to go back, I'm going to go back really quick to this page, okay? We here, like if you look at the top left, the one with the football players, under where it says Chicago's North Shore, it says sponsored. We boost most of our posts, and it's very easy when you have a business page, not a personal page, but when you have your business page, every time you put a post up, there's a little button that says boost. And I'm not going to go through all this now, but it literally holds your hand and allows you for $10 to define a audience. Like you could say Glenview, you can say men or women, you can say people that have special interests, blah, blah, blah. You could put, $10 for 7 days and do a campaign that will be delivered and show up in people's news feeds. So we do these pretty much with every post that we do. So like I always say, think about it like this. You could do you could do 50 posts for $10 in the same way that you would have or could still take a $500 ad in some publication. It's just spending your money in a different way, but we do this and to get the word out for things. So what I'm trying to say is we're not just counting on people coming to our Facebook page to see what we have to say. We are delivering it to our demographic. And I'm going to say a dirty little secret, and I don't want to offend any of the men on the call, but we boost, I would say, 90% of our posts to women. Women are the decision makers for pretty much a lot of things in my world and probably most of yours. Again, no offense, but this statistically shows up again and again. So for example, if you have X amount of money and you want to reach like 5,000 people and you pick Glenview only and you pick all men and women, you'll reach that. But if you just pick women, you can pick Glenview, Northbrook, Winnetka for the same amount of money. And again, it's just, statistically shown that women make most of the decisions. If you don't like what I'm saying, fine. I'm just trying to tell you the bottom line truth here of how this works. So the reason why I showed these, yes.
I'm going to interrupt for a second. Evidently, there's some static on your microphone, and I don't know if it'll help if you move a little bit further back from it, but I've gotten a couple messages from people. It's a little static. So thanks.
Is this better or worse?
I think that's better.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's much better, much better.
Okay. The reason why I wanted to show this again is there's 3 very different kinds of ads on here, and the audiences that we send a football message to is different than a burlesque show, is different than a family food truck festival. Completely different audiences. So when we boost these for $10, we go in and pick according to the demographics of each of the kind of messages we're sending, what we're sending. And again, the message here is it doesn't have to be a lot of money, but if you're counting on people just organically seeing posts on your page, that is not happening. Again, a truth you may not like to hear, but an important truth. You don't have to spend a lot of money to boost, but you really have to target and boost your posts, which is how I get now to Instagram. Facebook bought Instagram. When you boost a post or do a campaign on Facebook, it appears also on your Instagram page, assuming you have one. Instagram is now really up there. People use Instagram. It's very visual. Unfortunately, people have the attention span of flies, so they like seeing pictures. But it's just very engaging, and any business can thrive on Instagram. And again, the ease of this is that once you have Instagram going, whatever you do on Facebook in terms of boosting a post will show up on Instagram too. And, it's easy to increase everything here, easy to increase visibility, engage your audience. And one thing I didn't bring up, which is really important, is remember that, I don't know what the statistic now is, like 85% of the people looking at anything are looking at it on their phone. We just redesigned our website, and it's funny because when I'm on desktop, everything looks humongous, but the guiding principle of when we redesigned it was we redesigned it mobile first, desktop second. And I think that, obviously Facebook and Instagram were there right out of the gate, but it's a really important lesson to realize how visual things are and how everything is, the majority of people are accessing things mobily. So one of the easiest things you can do on Instagram is in your bio, you can have a link to your website, or if you have like a special page within your website or anything online that you can link to, you can always change this. So let's say you have a website, but you want to show the schedule of your concerts or services or whatever you have, okay? You can have a dedicated link that goes directly to that page. You could default this to always go to your website, but you can always, on a daily basis, if you have something, or a weekly basis, if you have something special going on, change that link to go to whatever you want on your website. And then always, when you're posting on Instagram, then let people know that there's a link for more information in the bio. You can't put a URL in an Instagram post, but you can say link in bio. Well, you can, but it's always important to just say link in bio so that people can see more information about you in your bio, and that's where they would also click to follow you on a regular basis. Now, this is our page, and again, we're very lucky because in tourism we get to show food, beautiful scenery, it's, again, that's why these social media platforms are great for travel. But, it's important that you see here that we have our tag in here, our hashtag, we have our website, and, we have a consistent image on our profile picture that matches what we have on all our social media platforms. That consistent message is important. And, we have 14,300 followers. And you know what? We started with 0. So you got to start somewhere. And it's, exciting to see it grow and see that people are really engaging into Instagram. It's really growing. One of the things to show here is if you see these little circles, depending, again, because I'm talking to people that do a lot of different things, but, let's say you're a chamber, Betsy, like you could have like a circle saying just information about your upcoming events. Another circle could be sending people to your YouTube channel for seminars or whatever. Depending on your kind of business, and I pulled up, I did a mortgage business to get away from tourism here, to show how a business that is not, showing sexy food and, landscapes, how they use, how a mortgage company is using their page to get business and communicate. I don't know what all these things mean, like this is American Pacific Mortgage. They obviously have a link to their site, and, they're showing all different things. And like if you see on the bottom right, they're just happy 4th of July from American Pacific Mortgage. So I think what's important too is, since you don't have, you don't have to start from scratch. You can go and search your competitors, people that you can just type in mortgage. For example, I'm saying if you're a mortgage company, whatever company you are, somebody probably, if you did a little research, has already like created a template that you could follow about how to use Instagram for your business. And that's why I brought up a mortgage business, because it's, a service business, they're doing it. It's great for B2B business, B2C, and they can still have engaging posts even though they're selling mortgages. They can still use this platform to drive business. And then I'm showing Apt. Again, they also, I just thought this was cute too, that, you know, people, happy 4th of July from us. You know, they're selling product, as you can see, but if you see the bottom left photo and the bottom right photo, they're still showing fun. You know, they're still engaging with people. And, you know, it's interesting because, you know, they're being followed by a lot of people that aren't, you know, obvious. You know, Wendella Boat Company, Chicago Water Taxi, 312 Food, which is a foodie blog. And, you know, they are engaging these people. So even though on the top right they're selling a refrigerator, well, guess what? 312 Food, which is a foodie blog, will repost that. So there's creative ways to tag and work with people. Like, here's an appliance store and here's a food blogger downtown. Like, how can you reach out and have all these different audiences getting your message out by just tagging them and working with them on social media? So, and then I thought this was really cute. In order to encourage people to tag Apt more often, they say that if you see here, tag Apt Electronics in your app picks to win a $100 gift card every month. They do a raffle thing. So there's a way to engage and incentivize people to be part of your social media world, and I thought that was really clever. Last but not least here, I told you I'd show you this chart, which I expanded, okay? And you see Twitter down there? I circled it in a really not nice way, but it did the job. Look at, I mean, Twitter is pretty down there. So, and so is Pinterest, but I think they're a niche, you know? Twitter, for the news hounds out there in the world, and I'm a news hound, you know, like, Twitter is great to get out quick, timely messages, okay? Pinterest is great to create boards. We have them like weddings on the North Shore and, you know, best barbecue on the North Shore. Like, if people drool over beautiful images that are by content and category, that's great for Pinterest. But again, it has to fit your business, what you do, and how much time you have. So I'm always a big believer that if your time is limited, Facebook and then Instagram, which is tied to Facebook, and then Facebook Messenger, which is tied obviously to Facebook, is where you should put your time and money. And these are pretty recent numbers. This is April 2020. And then Twitter, if you personally like it and personally are engaged in it and have time, great. If not, I'm not a big recommender of it. And this is kind of the end with my contact information. And, you know, I offer, you know, I always tell our partners and members, like, there's no question that is too stupid or too basic. I've heard it all. You know, we love here helping people engage. Even if somebody just needs a photo resized, I'm happy to do it. So if you can, that's my email on the bottom. If you want to explore some of our pages here, I have that. And our new website's still a work in progress. We did launch it, but we're not publicly launching it until we're not announcing it until August 1st when all the kinks are out, but you're welcome to go check it out now. And I didn't even check if there's any questions in the chat because I was blithering on. But if anybody here, I'll go back on.
Megan will start reading out the questions for you, Gina, so that we'll go through everything that anybody asks. And I know Megan's got one about connecting Instagram too. So take it, Megan.
Yeah, we have a whole bunch. Thanks, Gina. I always really love following your Facebook and Instagram. You guys really have the best photos of the North Shore, and I'm not just saying that to kiss up to you.
Oh my God, she did. Hi. Okay, sorry.
So PJ had a whole bunch of questions, and I think that initially the first chart that you pulled up, did that have LinkedIn on there?
I don't think so.
Okay, so PJ was just asking about LinkedIn, you know, what your thoughts are.
Yeah. We are big LinkedIn users, but and I think that it is important for, you know, like it's not as important to like my restaurants and hotels, which are my major constituents. So, but what we use it for is, you know, we're trying to book meetings here. So we do a lot of campaigns that target meeting planners. Because people on their LinkedIn profile, you know, they're divided by business. LinkedIn has mimicked the Facebook version of advertising, meaning you don't need to be an artist or know anything. They like guide you through like Facebook does, and you just click, click, click. So again, you can pick people by, you know, like just, you know, as a manager, director, like what their positions are. There's an, you know, for me, I can pick meeting planners. You can, you know, they give you a screen of options, and all you do is click on those that are applicable to you. You know, you could do geographical range, you know, dollar, demographic ranges. You can do that. We do a lot business to business on LinkedIn. But, you know, in terms of the consumer and getting customers and clients from out in the world, business to consumer, it's Facebook and Instagram. If it's business to business, we use LinkedIn.
Okay. PJ, did that answer it for you, or do you want to chime in? Okay, moving on to
Hold on. I'm on chat. I'm on mute.
Okay.
Yes, you're suggesting the boosting, right? I'm talking about why does it seems to fall so low on your chart. That chart is representing social media engagement? What's it representing?
It's just active users.
Oh,
that
okay.
chart active users on these platforms.
Okay.
I can read these questions here. Yeah, I mean, hashtags and Facebook are not as active in Twitter, LinkedIn. I agree with that. You know, I think that people don't really refer to a hashtag because for the most part, if there's any other kind of call to action available in that post, they'll go to that. So I agree with that because usually there's an image, a lot, you know, depending on the post, there is another call to action, and that's what people are going to do.
So are you, but Instagram, obviously, hashtags are very big there, right?
Hashtag, yes, they're big there, but you know, what we have really found is it's not just hashtagging people, but also reaching out to them through messaging, direct messaging, and introducing yourself and establishing a relationship with them and seeing if they're going to agree to cross-promote you. Because you could hashtag something all you want, but if that person is not engaged with you or wanting your content or wanting to cross-promote, that's a wasted hashtag. So we have spent a lot of time here, like engaging with the people who we found on Instagram, for example, and, you know, direct messaging to them. And you always have to flatter people. Hi, I love your page. It's so beautiful. It's so great. You know, when we have related content, I'm going to tag you. Are you interested in doing the same for me? And if someone's nasty and not engaging, then you know what? You could tag them for the rest of your life and it won't matter. So
but I'm talking
I think
about hashtags, not tagging.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like hashtag Glenview restaurants. That's a hashtag.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Yeah, but you know, that's assuming that, like we only do it to ones that we know have, you know, are something that people search. You know, we have found that people are not going, people can just go to Google and type in Glenview restaurants. They're not typing in hashtag Glenview restaurants. So you have to think of what the end game of the hashtag is. And again, for us, it's a mutually agreed upon way to exponentially get our content out. Like one of the top food bloggers in Chicago it's called Fab Food Chicago. Not only have we developed like a relationship with her, who we met her on Instagram, but now she reposts everything we do, and she has a humongous audience. She has come here and done seminars for us. She covers our restaurant month every February. Like, we have developed a relationship with someone who has a humongous audience. The idea of hashtags or any of that kind of engagement is to take your message and get it out to a much, like, amplify it, like, big time by these relationships. That's the purpose.
Gina?
Yes.
So I have a question relevant to that as well. My business is a baking business, and there are all sorts of food people, mostly young. They're like in their 20s, maybe early 30s, that they are taking pictures of businesses' foods or where they've gone out for dinner or what they've made, and people are getting, or businesses are getting featured. So I'm old and fairly new to all of this with my business, and I don't know what's appropriate. Is it okay to reach out and just boldly say, you know, I make cake ball truffles, and I'd love to give you a sample of it. Would, you know, maybe you'd like to feature it in one of your posts. Do you do things like that? Are you more subtle than that?
Well, you know what? From just hearing what you do, I would not really, my first tier would not be to engage in young downtown, you know, foodies. It would be, you saw that page I was talking about with all the North Shore Facebook groups?
Right.
And I would engage with them. I would engage with Nextdoor, and I didn't even talk about Nextdoor. But you have such a audience. Your lowest hanging fruit is on the North Shore. And I would engage with all of them. Now, just because you're in Glenview doesn't mean you can't engage with the Winnetka Northfield mom group, the Wilmette mom group, the Highland Park. Like, you know, a lot of these businesses cross-promote, but these are the people who have more expendable income and, you know, are going to really, you know, probably engage first and foremost. And I've dealt with a lot of like niche baking, you know, companies on the North Shore, like people that make, you know, designer cookies. I don't know if you've ever heard of Hungry Monkey Baking.
Yep,
She's in
actually,
Lake
yep, and I've
Forest.
been in touch with her, actually, yeah.
Yeah, she happens to be an old friend of mine who worked for the CTA for 20 years, and look at her now. But
She's amazing.
yeah, but you know, it's just like engaging. She works with restaurants, you know, she got into, you know, supermarkets just by, you know, but what I've seen, like I know someone that does handmade chocolates, and what she does is she works with a lot of independent retailers on the North Shore. So we're getting into sidewalk season sale, even with a pandemic. Central Street and Evanston just had it. Northfield and Winnetka, I think, are this weekend. But, you know, doing things with retailers, and they have allowed like this other chocolatier I know to be in their store and to, you know, sell their chocolate while, you know, next to the jewelry and the scarves and the whatever, like to partner with other kinds of businesses. But they promote that on social media, like the retailers. So I really wouldn't concentrate on engaging with like young bloggers downtown because there is such a big market up here first.
Yeah, okay. And it's not so much bloggers. I also have another friend who does cookies, and she has engaged with these younger folks, and well, I shouldn't say friend, but like an acquaintance. And she sells a lot of stuff to like college students. Well, you know, college students, we don't know whether they're going back and going away, but you know, that's a market that I'm trying to get into. But I'm getting sort of in the weeds, and maybe we can talk about it offline. But I do think there is some value in contacting some of those folks. I am looking for the best way to do it.
Okay. Contact me.
I will. Thank you.
Yes, Facebook is not for the younger people, but like I was just talking about with Kathy, I mean, the people that have the most disposable income are people that are, you know, 50s, 40s, 50s. So for us, you know, a lot of travel, you know, for us, a lot of travel decisions and the most lucrative part of the market are people with more disposable income. But the beauty is that Facebook everything that we post on Facebook goes on Instagram. So we are catching the younger demographic on Instagram. I'm trying to see what else. As a consumer, how effective is it? I'm trying to think if there's anything we haven't covered yet. Okay, this question, Susie asked, like, I see more interactions in our posts in Facebook groups. And I don't know if you're talking about the kinds of groups that I was talking about, but, you know, some of it has to just do with numbers. You know, some of these, you know, we, not does our public relations.
Hey, Gina, we're kind of losing you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. We started, not we, but my PR person started a What's Cooking North Shore Facebook group in the beginning of the pandemic, and she got 4,000 people in 3 weeks. And, you know, if you look at some of the numbers when you're starting it as a business, it's just really hard to get that. So that's why I'm a big believer in these groups, because why not use their audience already? It takes a long time to build up those kinds of numbers on your own. I don't, PJ, we do not market yet through Facebook Messenger. I have found it more useful for people that are selling a specific product or service, and we don't. You know, that's not what we do, so I'm not as familiar with it. But you know what? I'm interested in researching it.
But what are you suggesting you do? You mentioned Facebook Messenger several times. What are you suggesting other than just messaging people that you want to connect with? Is there something else that I'm missing?
No, but you know, I'm just saying that our company doesn't do it, so I'm not that well versed in it. But I'm very interested in it, so maybe Betsy, this could be. I'll do a whole session on Facebook Messenger because
you know
I think
what? I actually just got 2 new members in the last week through Facebook Messenger.
Oh, okay. Well, that's so funny that you say that, because during the pandemic, we signed on a new community through Facebook Messenger, Northfield. So I get it. But how it happened, honestly, was that they saw our social media posts and presence, and they contacted me. I didn't use it as an outbound marketing tool, but I am interested. I just got to be honest, I'm not an expert at that. But I do think that should be a whole session.
I think so too. I think we should set that up in a couple weeks.
Now, Susie asked about marketing and interacting with Alignable. I feel that Alignable is like LinkedIn, and I don't have the time, interest, or ability to manage duplicate similar platforms. That is my feeling about Alignable. I have nothing against it. Somebody connected me through it, so I signed up. And now I'm getting all those same things I got through LinkedIn, trying to build up that platform. And I had to make a decision as a human being, how much time do I have? And that I have such a strong presence on LinkedIn, and if I can't commit to do it well and right, I'm not going to do it. So that's my feeling about Alignable. Nextdoor is a whole different story. I think Nextdoor is, the benefit of Nextdoor is really a neighbor-to-neighbor communication about schools, about, you know, do you have a gardener, a roofer, a window replacement, things that are home-related. And I think that's different unless your business is in that category. I think that's a niche of neighbors, and it's, you know, the other neighbors' direct referrals. And if you've been in Nextdoor, and that one's easy, I consider that one separate, you can choose your immediate neighborhood. You could pick all the neighborhoods in your village. You know, you can pick how big your world is. So, you know, I have used and personally many vendors, because if I see that 5 neighbors that I know and trust, you know, don't like to spend tons of money and have a good referral, like that's like gold to me. So I think that Nextdoor is not so much for, unless you're selling that kind of service that a homeowner's using, and it's also about your neighborhood. Like I see kids speeding, you know, it's more like a home neighborhood referral service. So I consider that different than LinkedIn or Alignable. Yes, we are using video. You know, this is a little tougher because it's harder to be out there and create video compared to getting photos. But more and more, when we do placements, we do use video. We have a YouTube channel. We haven't used it that much for outbound marketing. I don't know how much, you know, again, it's just, for us, it's time versus resources equation. The major thing about YouTube is that it's a Google product, and anything that you have on there will, you know, help you rank higher in Google. Like, we don't do it directly. We have a program now that we're doing with a company that is doing 360 photography. We're doing our hotels and our special event venues, and everything that we do in terms of getting this 360 photography for these venues will be on our website, but they also become the Google images for those people that we're doing it for. The key there for me, for a business in YouTube, is not just spending a lot of time creating video content, which is time consuming and hard, but the concentration, and I didn't even get into it here because this was about social media, but about Google and the importance of having a complete, you know, listing when your company appears on the right side hand of Google, and all that information that you can put in there is free, and to have as many great photos in there, and to make sure that you have a complete Google profile, and that, you know, what you're doing via search just organically to appear higher in Google, which is a whole other topic. That's, to me, the benefit of YouTube, is because it's a Google product.
Do you like the raw footage better, or more like the edited versions of videos for YouTube?
Well, all I can say is we're told again, like, you know, in my world, tourism, I go to, you know, well, I used to go to a lot of conferences, but people don't want the edited, you know, produced videos. People want to see short, again, attention span of a flea. People want to see short, engaging videos that are more on the raw side.
Got it. I have a question for the chamber. Is there someone in your office that I could talk to help me? I'm trying to, we're on Facebook right now, but I'm having trouble getting us on Instagram without it meshing with my personal Instagram. So is there someone in your office I could talk to maybe?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, I'll email it to you.
Great, thank you. I think we got through all the questions in the chat. Does anyone else have anything that they would like to add? You can unmute yourself and feel free to shout it out. PJ?
Of course I have questions. Can you describe the skill set of the folks that you have in your office to do this? For most of my clients, you know, they, as far as their skill set, and so I'm curious, in your office, if you've hired folks and you've taught them, kind of what skill level are you using?
Okay, well, it's all over the place, but we have someone who is just our digital and social media manager, and, you know, her skill set is, managing our website. We have our website's developed out of house, but she manages all the content on our website, which is through a CMS. But she also does all our Facebook boosting. We have somebody else that does the posting that's not in our office. But the skill set for the person that posts, she was hired with a background in writing. She originally knew nothing about social media, because if you don't have an engaging copy in your posts, then you don't have a good post. So we started with a writer for our posting, and she kind of learned on the job. She's been with us now almost 10 years, but she kind of learned on the job. And again, she, through posting and through posting our members, has developed relationships with the people that we post about. And, again, I cannot stress enough how valuable those are. Now, the person that does our boosting is someone who gets into the weeds, and they need to know business-wise the demographics. It's really not an art. It's not really, there's not that much art involved outside of going into Photoshop and sizing photos, but you're a business person then. As I showed you that page where I had 3 different kind of posts that had 3 completely different audiences. You are a little ad agency for every little ad you do, just trying to decide who your customer is and how to really strategically spend not that much money, but in a way. You're not advertising in a newspaper that everyone is reading it. You are only delivering a message, like for my Northwestern football. That one was targeted to men. They're into football. They're Northwestern alumni or fans. And then we always target for Northwestern whatever team they're playing at the time, their alumni and fans. I'm saying this just to tell you how hyper-targeted it is when you're doing this advertising. But is that an artistic skill set? No, that's business. That's like having business acumen, really. That's more important for this boosting than, being that social media savvy. Facebook, if you're just going to boost a post, it walks you through it. Like literally, you don't have to know a code or this or that. You're just clicking. Do I want men, women, all? Do I want people from 18 to 65 and over? Like it walks you through it, and you have to decide how smart you are in targeting your spend. You don't want to spend a lot. You only want to talk to the people that are your exact customer. So that skill set, again, to me is more business.
Thank you. Can I have another question, or are we done, Megan?
Go for it.
You're allowed.
Okay, I'm just asking, or if anybody else has questions. Can you talk more about groups and how much posting you do inside groups, and how much conversation you have, and what you find is beneficial?
Well, we post in, a lot of times in groups, people are looking for something. It starts out by a person posting, hey, anyone know this? So we post and say, oh, like when it was Mother's Day, we do a whole campaign that promotes what all our members are doing for Mother's Day. So where people will be like, where do I take, of course during COVID, where's safe to take my whatever for Mother's Day? We would go on that post and say, we have a lot of offerings, check out, and we put in the URL to our Mother's Day page. So we take the time to read through these different pages that we belong to, and, we have them all grouped. And, we read them once a day, and there's never a time where we can't offer something. Now, we're not a chamber, so I don't deal with, car repair stores or, mortgage companies. So we're not answering everything. We're going through there and engaging with these people. And remember, you're not just answering the question to the person that's asking it, but there's a million people usually following that question. You're really getting the word out to all of them. Now, what these groups hate, do not go on these groups and just sell your thing in a post. FYI, I make this if you're interested. Oh, God, don't do that. but read the posts. You know, there was a ton of people. What can I do creatively for graduation? Well, if you're a balloon company, you could say, I sell balloons, or I can make chocolate with your kid's name on it, or whatever. I mean, there's always something. People are looking, and I think now that people are stuck at home, they're not traveling, and they're trying to do things more locally, I think that's a really great opportunity for our businesses, because people have the money now. Well, whether they have money or not, they're not going to Tahiti and wherever. They are trying to, you know, now we're going to get into school starting season. Some kids are going to school. Like, what is their products and services that could help them? You could be a moving company. Do you have boxes to help people pack to go to school? Like, you just have to be creative as the seasons go on and what people are going to be looking for, because remember, they're all stuck here and they're spending a lot more time online. You're getting a much, like we have all our statistics that we monitor all the time. We have never had more engagement than we had during this pandemic time, because not only is there more eyeballs looking at social media, but a lot of companies don't have as much money to advertise or promote things. So if you just have a little spend, it goes a lot farther because there's less ads on Facebook.
Anybody else have any questions for Gina? Well, I think we definitely will do a follow-up session, because I think that Facebook thing would be interesting, and I see a lot of little heads nodding up and down. Thank you, Gina. I think that this was really valuable. Every time
thank you all.
Session,
thank you, Rabbi.
So if nobody else has any questions, this will be posted, and we will let people know that we have this follow-up, and you can feel free to go back into it and see if you want to review something or whatever. And Gina, we will be in touch with you both about helping us with the Instagram situation and also setting up the Facebook session. That'll be great.
Okay. Have a good day, all.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
Gina. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.